I know it's easy to go out there and say, okay, Lego, if you're making a video about one, you kinda have to talk about the other, especially since yesterday's game between their two teams was the Calder Bowl. Well, I kinda wanna go out there and break that and only really focus on one, because when it comes to Lucas Raymond of the Detroit Red Wings, sure, his team may have lost yesterday in the Calder Bowl. Sure, he may have not produced as much as the other guy in Trevor Zegras in yesterday's Anaheim-Detroit game either. But when it comes to Raymond and everything that he has done, I mean, we've been talking about this all season, but there have been records, there have been highlights, there have been so many things to talk about when it comes to this player and his profile and the statistics and everything he is doing comparative to other guys in the past. But videos like these, where we just kind of gush over everything, it's not really new. So yesterday's Red Wings and Anaheim Ducks game was a pretty fun one to watch, if I do say so myself. Anaheim ends up winning ultimately 4-3 in a shootout, and Raymond, even though he does get outproduced by Trevor Zegras had a power play goal in the first period. It's an absolute clapper of a slap shot, and it's a beautiful play. He holds onto the puck, and you can see him kind of like moving back and forth in that face-off circle with so much intent. He sends it back to the point guy gives it over to Zegras once more, and he just one-times it in. But he also had himself another assist in the third period on a Comtois goal, and this goal was a very, very nice one. Zegras goes out there and steals the puck after a defensive zone face-off loss, and he comes down the wing with so much speed. On his left, he has himself Rickard Rakell and Maxime Comtois on the far side. He does a little, inside-outside can opener move to try to get by the defender. He loses the puck a little bit, but Rakell picks it up, centers it, and Comtois pots it in. So there you go. There are the two Zegras points on the night. And we had ourselves only one Lucas Raymond point in the game. It was Tyler Bertuzzi. Raymond gets the secondary assist in the second period there. This one pretty much gets done because Raymond steals the puck on the half boards and very confidently strides over the perimeter of the ice. He goes over to the far side, drops it off for Mark Stahl, of all people, who is pinching down low. Stahl wraps it around, there's an attempt there, and eventually it's Bertuzzi on the rebound who pots it in. But it's Raymond's only point on the night, and even though Trevor Zegras outproduces Raymond, even though the Ducks end up beating the Red Wings, there still are some pretty good stats that I do think are worth highlighting when it comes to Raymond and everything he has done. Let's go over onto the NHL Twitter account and see what they have to say about Raymond and his 30 points in the National Hockey League. He became the fastest teenager in Red Wings history. Let me repeat that, fastest teenager in Wings history to reach 20 assists in 36 games played, eclipsing the franchise icon Steve Yzerman, who got the mark in 39 games played. He also is one of only 4 rookies in franchise history to hit 30 points in fewer games at any age. So let's go over the first stat here before we go over to the graphic, because the graphic, having the writing that it does, kind of makes the first stat on this tweet a little bit misleading. This tweet has 2 stats. One of them is the fastest teenager in Wings history to reach 20 assists. Raymond does this in 3 fewer games than Steve Yzerman himself. And we've been saying this the entire time as well, but if you're a hockey player, you're a young guy coming into the NHL, you're doing this, you're doing that, you have all the pressure, you have all the fans, they're all saying all this great stuff about you. As long as you're able to go out there and consistently produce, consistently put up results, and best out some of the guys in the Wings past that have become so good, you're probably on the right path, right? You have yourselves then the other statistic that is highlighted in this tweet. Only 4 rookies in franchise history hit 30 career points in fewer games at any age. Here is that list. Fewest games to 30 career points in rookies from the Wings history. You have yourselves Lucas Raymond, who is indeed 5th on the list, behind Nick Lidstrom in 1991-1992, Jim McFadden in the 40s, Steve Yzerman in 83-84, and Sergei Fedorov in 1990-1991. Now, Yzerman had 30 career points in fewer games because a bigger chunk of his production back then was indeed goals. It's why the other stat, the first one, talking about how Raymond beat Yzerman in terms of the assist column, it is a little bit difficult for the tweet to be fully understood because of how it's formatted here, but still, Raymond has gone out there and pretty much upheld this reputation that he has had ever since the start of the year, that he's just that gosh darn good. However, even though he's been going out there doing all these things, breaking these records, and being in the same company as Yzerman and Fedorov, there still is a conversation to have about the Calder itself. Our previous video went over Tanner Jeannot and how he was now the top goal guy, or tied at the time with Raymond for the top goal guy amongst rookies and the honors for that label. Well, guess what? When we made that video, the Predators played later that evening, and Tanner Jeannot had himself another goal. Raymond is no longer first for rookies in goals. He's second. Jeannot has a pretty explicit lead. Now, if you go over to the points and you see where Raymond is there, yeah, he's still first. He's got 30 points in the limited sample he has had so far this season, but the gap is indeed closing. You take a look at Raymond and the separation between him and the 5th overall guy. Okay, it's about a 10-point lead he has on Michael Bunting and Dawson Mercer. An 8-point lead he has on that Tanner Jeannot. Jeannot, even though he's actually scoring a lot of goals and he's above Raymond in terms of that production, he isn't on the assist column nearly as much. Raymond has a 7-point lead on Moritz Seider, which is pretty good. I mean, Seider is defenseman. It's a little bit different when trying to evaluate him, of course. And then you have the second place guy. Trevor Zegras, with the production he had yesterday and the production he had ever since returning to the lineup from protocol, is only behind Raymond by 3 points. And, I mean, I get it. Zegras is great. There's a lot of really good pizzazz and flash behind his game, and we saw him almost pull off the Michigan assist a second time earlier this week. So there's going to be a pretty tight race, I think, towards the end when it comes to who's going to win the Calder and who's going to have more votes. Again, Raymond has been more consistent. He has been a lot more just in your face, hey, look at the numbers and see how good this guy is. But Trevor Zegras has been a lot more, okay, wow, watch the highlights, watch what this guy does. Even though Raymond may have more points, Zegras is producing with a lot more style, and everything that he's doing is putting hockey on the map. You saw the Michigan assist being put onto the top of the SportsCenter Plays of the Year or whatever it was, and that's the kind of thing that grows the game. That's the kind of thing that allows fans of sports who are not hockey fans necessarily to look at this sport and say, darn, this hockey thing's pretty cool, isn't it? So, just in terms of the flash, Zegras, admittedly, I think he might have Raymond beat a little bit here. Raymond has more points, but the gap is indeed shortening. So if you're a Red Wings fan, let me know in the comments your thoughts about this conversation over here. Lucas Raymond and the records he has broken. Yzerman beating out the assist record set by him for teenagers in Wings history. The overall rookie production leaders too. Him being a top 5 rate player amongst the Red Wings and their pretty diverse history. Also, talk to me in the comments what do you think about Lucas Raymond as well as Tanner Jeannot of the Nashville Predators overtaking Raymond in the goal conversation. Not to mention Trevor Zegras slowly approaching Raymond and his numbers from behind too. I guess I'll just end off this video by saying that even though there are many things to talk about that are contrarian to the idea of Raymond being the super good hockey player, and I definitely do acknowledge that he is good, I just think that it is important to also talk about the stuff that Raymond will be going against. So the records, the other players in the Calder. Yesterday, literally, it was a Calder showdown that Trevor Zegras ended up getting the last laugh on. And it's kind of getting interesting, man. Like, Lucas Raymond gets beat out in the box score by Trevor Zegras and their teams. Yeah, Lucas Raymond's team gets beat out on the score sheet as well. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this little thing going on over here. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.